Yes.
Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started in just a few minutes here, just waiting for everyone to arrive. Happy Valentine's Day. Okay. I think people may join us after we begin, but I think we can get started. Thank you all for joining us for this artist talk. I think it's going to be really special. We're going to be talking about Chopped, Slopped, Screwed, which you are seeing here playing silently before you. And there is someone who just entered. I am going to someone let them in. Beautiful. Um, I'm going to introduce China, one of our artist members who's going to be moderating this artist talk, and she will take it from here and introduce the amazing artists who made this exhibition. And with that, I will be in the background. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm excited for our conversation today. I'm here introducing the BLACKnet Artist Collective. Their exhibition, Chopped, Slopped, Screwed, was being shown in the Black Box. It's an immersive multi-channel video installation that samples and combines the imagined world of its members, Zante Moore, Shori, Halie Sims, and Logan Crompton. As post-internet and meme-concerned artists, the collective often finds themselves ideating on the many forms a post-internet society may take and what space Black people occupy within it in a world where Black images are often commodified in an attention-driven economy. What does it mean for artists to reclaim, superimpose themselves in both digital and IRL spaces? So without further ado, let's get into it. This is a question for everyone, obviously. I was sort of wondering how you guys met and why you wanted to work together and how you figured out what medium you wanted to work together in.
Um, yeah, I can maybe start um the I can maybe start with that. So we met in a book club, like for reading Legacy Russell's Black Meme, I think right after it came out. I had posted on Instagram, I was like, who wants to be in a book club where we can discuss this book? And Dante responded. A couple of people responded, but at the, I guess at the end of the day, Dante responded, and Dante pulled Logan in, and then it became just like a weekly, reading and discussion thing. Um, and then eventually, I guess that's not the start of like how we began collaborating artistically, but that's the story of like how we met, you know.
Yeah, as Shori said, Dante kind of pulled me um in for the book club, and in starting as a book club, it kind of became like fruitful discussion in terms of like theory, and it got to a point where we're like meeting weekly, and then we all just kind of got busy, and then I don't even think we finished the book, but we got to a point where we're like, okay, like we'll finish the book on our own time, but should we read another book, or what else should we do? And then kind of skipping, I guess I skipped ahead because after that there was a open call for like a online symposium, and we created a website to apply to that, and we didn't get it. But in doing that, we worked collaboratively to get that done, and it kind of opened up the potentials of like what the three of us meeting online could even be. And then Dante, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that covers a lot of it, but I think one of the things that I feel like ended up making us meeting or us starting collaborating digitally so special is like I feel like when we first started the book club, like first of all, like the book we were reading, Black Meme, like I feel like it correlated to all of our artist practice. And it sort of felt like in this weird way that we were like running our own like seminar, you know what I mean? Like on our own time. Which was sort of a cool feeling because I know like me and Logan were finishing up our last year at grad school during that time. But even though we were like at school, we were still like all making time to do these like weekly meetings and like collaborating on these ideas. So like it felt cool because I feel like we were sort of bringing this academic lens to it, but also at the same time we were doing it on our own time, like outside of the academic space. So I feel like it was one of those things where like you start it as just like a passion or something, but then like you end up like really pouring a lot into it, just in terms of like us collaborating, which I think was really dope. Um, yeah, I feel like that's the main thing I sort of have on that.
Yeah, there's one more thing I would like to add to that as well. It's like, okay, so yeah, it all started via Instagram for like a book, but I think kind of the last part of your question is like, how do we even decide the media that would take form of like our artistic collaboration? I think meeting online, um, and then us being like meme concerned artists or like online artists, it kind of video makes the most sense, but also kind of like we've talked about doing like web-based stuff like games going forward. And I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit of a tangent, but the the way that we even found each other via Instagram is like us being connected by being Black artists around the same age making internet related art. Like it's kind of crazy that we were able to connect like from Chicago, from Alabama to Philly. Like I think that's really special, and the medium that we do as a collective should be able to kind of have that like um reaching capability, if that makes sense. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think, and well, it's great when people work together, especially with people their own age, because I think a lot of times artists are waiting for somebody older than them or something, and you gotta work with your peers. Um, yeah, this work is so visually immersive. It's like wacky and weird and funny, but it's also deeply emotive. It feels like otherworldly and also very grounded. And I was wondering if there's a confessional nature to that.
Yeah, when we when I was installing the show here in Philly, I was like messaging Dante and Halie and kind of being like, the show is kind of horny and sad. And so like it's funny when people are like, oh, it's like wacky and funny. And it does have those moments, but I think um with these kind of like online chat room spaces or like video games and stuff, it kind of like leaves room for like uh I don't know. I feel like avatars kind of allow you to kind of there's like a front that you're like uh I guess pouring yourself into. And if anything, it kind of is more telling of like your desires, or at least that's how I view it. Um and it's interesting the work kind of just came together through like pairing up our individual contributions. So the confessional nature, I think, is a maybe not the like intended or the initial intention, but I don't know. I'm I'll let Dante and Halie speak on that as
I definitely feel thinking about like online chat rooms and like Logan said, like horny and sad. I feel like online chat rooms are like an extremely horny, sad place, especially IMVU, because it's not really, I mean, looking at this, but like it's not really, it's for children. It's like for it's like for horny sad adults, I feel like. And it's like even the audio clip from IMVU at the end of the video where the guy is like, I heard the whole thing. Like, you're so like y'all are so stupid. I heard the whole thing. When they were like, apparently what I was told, and I might be getting the story wrong, Logan and Dante, so let me know if I'm getting it wrong. Like the guy, everyone thought he left the room and they were shit talking him, sorry, trash talking him, but then he hadn't actually left the room, so he heard everything, and that to me is just like so sad in like a like in a like I'm like, geez, like this man really thought he had like online community, and then they just like did that to him. And I'm like, looking at the video, even now, I feel like I always got like that sense of like sadness from Dante's work, like the darkness. I think the lack of light in in both my work and Dante's work and some of the IMVU stuff, it just feels like, I don't know, isolation. Like
Right.
one thing that, right, like isolation, I
Yeah.
feel like internet and
Yeah.
isolation go together. But
And I think like I feel like our work sort of embodies this, but like it embodies it because it's based off of like this internet culture and it's sort of like indicative of the internet culture. But I feel like there are these like moments you encounter online or like with digital media where like they do seem zany, crazy, like out there, but like when you actually get into like the psychology of it, like it actually does end up being something sort of sad. And I think that's a theme that all of us think about in our own practices. And so I think like through our collaboration, like that's the one that really came to the forefront because I feel like we all sort of handle it in like different ways. But when you like times are different ways, like times three or something, like I feel like it makes the theme like really apparent. And I feel like there's sort of this idea, at least with like my practice of like I think being younger, I was like really into like video games, online culture, chat room and stuff. And I feel like as I've gotten older and I've sort of seen the trajectory of how like media has sort of like affected people now that we've had it for longer, I feel like it also sort of represents that sadness too. It's like this sadness that gets like sort of like emulated online, but also like this sadness of feeling like these digital places aren't really what they used to be, or like maybe aren't sustainable, or like maybe if you stay in them too long, you end up like that guy and no one likes you in your IMVU chat room, but you don't know. But that's sort of where I think about with the work, at least. And I feel like since we all deal with it sort of differently, like it really came out for the final piece.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it definitely feels like the end of, like, you're coming in on something on the tail end of it. You know what I mean? Like, with this internet, like, this kind of mass internet culture, like IMVU, again, for example, like, coming in on something, like, right as it's closing, I feel like, is that,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that the internet is like also relatively new, but it also feels like we're like going through at least one of the first big deaths of the internet. Um, Horny and sad chat rooms. I think there is like a sort of darkness and lightness in the internet, like good and evil. You can meet so many people, but it could be like really deeply isolating too. I was wondering what are some of your favorite and least favorite things about the internet, and maybe what was your first like big experience with it?
Um, I had like a visceral reaction to that, but I think because I mean like yeah, definitely I don't want to like prescribe this to anyone, but I feel like I'm definitely one of those people who was on the internet like way too young, and encountered people I shouldn't have encountered in like spaces that were not regulated. Um, and I wouldn't even I don't know if that's like necessarily my least favorite part in terms of like because I think it's like you said there's lightness and darkness, and I like to think of the internet as an extension of like what is happening in physical space. Like it still exists, so it would make sense that there are like dark and seedy places online as well. um and I like if we want to have kind of this like uh potential for like anonymity and like being able to connect and organize and stuff online. I think part of that is like people using it in less than um, desirable ways. Um, but I think, yeah, for that same reason, it's kind of my favorite thing about it is that you can get organized and meet others and like get radicalized as well and find out like illegal shit, which is like I don't know, like I like that if you have like the drive to find something you can. um
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. Like the ability on, like, on the internet, like, exactly, like the drive to find something, like, I think it used to be easier to find certain things, but maybe I'm just like getting older and I don't know how the kids are like doing it anymore. But um I feel like my experience is like similar to Logan's. Like, I was definitely in places that I shouldn't have been, doing things I shouldn't have been doing, with people who should have been doing them like with me in like in like 2012. You know what I mean? Or like 2010, 2007. I feel like, and this is like both the thing that I really love the internet for, or not quite love, but like it's more than a love. I don't know. It's like, is that I still kind of have difficult, I think because I grew up on the internet so bad, like I still have difficulty like with presence, like being fully like going through the day not being like fully dissociated the entire time because I feel like being on the internet and like really like I did role playing, like being fully tapped into the internet as if it's your actual life, like makes your actual life like a dissociative experience or like the whole process of like making a life and embodying a character that is but is not you, like on the internet causes that kind of a thing. So, but that's also, I feel like the internet as like an immersive third space is my favorite quality of it. You know what I mean? Which is harder to achieve now because like I have a job and stuff, so I like gotta go like into my job and like be myself. But that original experience, I feel like was so singular, you know? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'm sort of thinking about like my favorite and least favorite part. I feel like my favorite part of like digital culture is definitely like meme culture. Like I feel like I just grew up during like a really peak time in meme culture, like 2016, like Twitter, Tumblr memes. That was like my first introduction to it. And so I feel like I sort of like relish um like that era of meme culture. And so I feel like my favorite part is definitely meme culture, but then I feel like my least favorite part right now is sort of like how um I feel like social media, I feel like they've changed it to be like really algorithm based, and I feel um like I feel like my scroll or my timeline just isn't really doesn't feel the same, and then I feel like it's because they're sort of like implementing more like sort of like dopamine reward system based like algorithms like onto social media that like sort of like reward or promote that. But then a part of me wonders like if that's sort of always been there, and maybe I just have a nostalgia for like an older one. And I don't think it's always been there in the same way. I think it's definitely more prevalent now, but like sometimes that's how I sort of like check myself, you know what I mean? It's like um wondering about like how much of feeling like meme culture has like shifted and changed for the worse versus like how much am I maybe nostalgic. I think that's sort of like my like push and pull on like what parts about the internet I like or don't.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think thinking back to what Halie was saying about like kind of, 2007 to what 2014 or even Dante 2016. Um, like there's always been surveillance on the internet, but I think it's like we're hyper aware of it now, and you can like really tell through algorithms. Like you'll be talking to someone about like maybe buying a particular thing, and then the next minute it's like on your Instagram, like ads or whatever. And it that kind of like air surveillance does make it harder, I feel like, to find things organically too. So you're always like hit with a veneer of like surface level shit. Um, yeah, I don't know. That has been kind of bothering me lately.
And the thing is, like, right, like with the surveillance and the way everything is like algorithm based, and they're just like feeding you stuff like that they know you're gonna like to like keep you on longer. Like the shit, like it's not fun anymore. Like, because it's not like you're discovering something. It's like, here's everything you want. Like, even things you don't like, a thing you mentioned 5 minutes ago, or like a advertisement that you lingered over a little bit too long 5 minutes ago. You want that? Like, we're gonna give it to you. Like, we're gonna give you everything. But it used to be like, there were corners of the internet that you would have to dig for. And there were like forums and stuff. Like they're not like really like forums anymore. Like I don't know, like maybe there are, but I feel like forums used to be like an engine, of the internet. And now it's like social media. Like social media is the closest we have to like a forum, but social media like Instagram and like I don't know, E-bombs world are not the same thing. And I don't know, it's like it's just been cleaned up. I feel like it's all just been cleaned up and pushed out and it's like I don't know, like that I feel like that's why like people are reaching for like these early internet aesthetics because it's so like the aesthetics are what's so recognizable, but it's also questionable. Like with the piece I included, or one of the like the pieces on the screen right now on top, um, I had collected all these like GIFs, like that specific avatar dancing GIF of like women. And I have found them online. I found them on Pinterest actually, but they didn't tell me where they came from. So I was like, oh, what is this? Turns out they're like early. I think or either Logan or Dante told me this. They're like early IMVU characters. And then to think about like, oh, there are no longer the like early IMVU animations that have been phased out in favor of like the more recent IMVU animations, like the ones you can see in like Logan's contributions. And um I feel like that it's so strange because it's like trash. Like it's like internet detritus. I'm like, do these bodies become trash because the internet has moved past them? You know what I mean? Like, where is this place for these bodies now? And what happens when the bodies that we're looking at right now become out of date and trash? Do we get rid of them all? Like, do we just throw them away? You know?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. We do form like, you feel like sad for like an internet character sometimes that has like run its course, because I guess that also is a reflection of life and being scared of that happening to just like, things and people IRL as well. It is so true that the internet went from a lot of discovery and like free reign to, I think, just a heavier surveillance and like ultimately capitalism driven economy. Do you see your work existing along a continuum of contemporary art in lineage? And do you have any important influences?
Yeah. Um, I can take it first. I feel like I mean, yeah, like I feel like definitely it's within a lineage. I'm thinking about and I'm gonna have to pull up the name of the second person I wanna reference, but the first person I'm thinking of, I feel like specifically for my work is the first specifically for my work, I think with like the hyper feminine energy of it is like Molly Soda. But Molly Soda is definitely like I feel like a 2010s kind of thing, like when like kind of like confessional, like photo booth, like or like autobiographical confessional kind of like drama of the self was like a thing. Or like have first like become a thing. We're really observing ourselves, and I feel like autofiction, as a genre, uh, like with certain authors, like I don't know, I kind of feel like it definitely was is within that continuum, but I feel like it's like not an advancement of that, but I feel like it's a logical, it's like almost like a darker next step, you know? I feel like the stuff of like other artists, or like the arts that I'm kind of thinking about like referencing, it's a little bit more, it's not so doomer. Like I feel like we're like the era is more like there was like a kind of a possibility at that time, and I think we are doomed. And that is reflected in the work. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I think in terms of like where I see this work existing like in a lineage, like I feel like it's definitely in line with like this idea of like post-internet art. I think it's sort of like post internet art at this point. And I don't know if there's like a specific movement for it, but I feel like I have this like vision of like in 10 or 20 years there's going to be like a name for a movement, and I think one of the defining features is going to be like making work related to memes or like including memes in like a art practice. And so I don't know if there's a specific name for it now, but like I sort of see this work like lying within that type of movement. Like I also see this as something that could be like sort of like a rhizome, like net art anthology, like continuation. Um, definitely in there for sure. And I feel like some artists for me that I feel like really come to mind to the work. Definitely I think about like Martine Sims, like the African Desperate. She flashes memes in and out of that movie so much. And then I also think like sort of like Sandra Perry's installations and this type of stuff they've done with like 3D models and like sort of like glitched out screens. I definitely think about. I think Jacoby Satterwhite too, definitely with like the dancing animations of like game characters using game engines. I think definitely sort of like falls in that line. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like if anything though, there's sort of like a difference in the way that me, Shori, and Logan are sort of going about it because I feel like some of the stuff that like I feel like goes with ours is like this sentiment of like growing up online versus like using like using like technology to like express these things. But I feel like ours also comes from this like sentiment of like growing up with it, feeling like you maybe understand it in a deeper way, and then like having a more maybe emotional connection to like internet culture, I think. um yeah.
Yeah, I will also name Martine Sims, particularly the installation that was at the PMA a couple years ago, Nora Swamp. Um, I think is a really big inspiration for me in terms of like video work. And then also Peggy Allwesh's She Puppet, um, which we had I had looked at as a collective like while we were making this video. And then like quickly kind of adding to Dante's point about like say in 20 years there's an art movement that names like memes. I think there definitely will be, because memes have existed before the internet. Like mimetic theory has is uh, just about ideas and how they proliferate and replicate and evolve. And I think the memes that we see online and the memes that we're referencing are just like hyper visible examples of that. That in 20 years we'll be able to kind of like fully evaluate, but right now we're like so in it that it seems really difficult to like parse out in that way. And then you add the complications of like um identity and race to it as well, and that I don't know, but I think I always get like tripped up on like art reference questions because I'm like, yeah, those are the most like relevant ones, and then get into like weirder kind of stuff that kind of relates to what Dante was saying, like the emotive effect of like these things as well. But I hope that began to answer it.
And sorry, just I you mentioned sheep puppet. I was like looking at my phone trying to Google. I was like Lara Croft dying video art, Lara Croft death scene. But yeah, no, I feel like definitely, yeah, like I feel like that's probably more in the lineage of like what we're doing because of the 3D model aspect and like the repurposed video game kind of, or like recontextualized video game animation aspect.
Also, like
Um,
the themes of like death and
yeah,
like going back to your earlier point of like what happens to these characters when they've been deemed like no longer viable or useful.
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I feel like the sadness of this work is also the controversial, I feel like possibly, I don't know, because we haven't really discussed this aspect yet. I feel like this, at least for me, this is about death in a way. Like death of
I think
like
it's controversial. I remember when we were like reading Black Meme and we were, I don't know, I was like really taken in by like the chapter on like necropolitics and Trayvoning and stuff, and that was crazy. Which if any of you don't know, when Trayvon Martin died, there was people were like making memes replicating his death, which is like crazy. They were like white people laying on the ground. Um, I
yeah,
don't know, it's fucked up.
yeah, like Skittles and tea in their hands, they just be like laying face down. But yeah, I guess that's not controversial at all. I feel like there was a lot of stuff in Black Meme about death and like the memification of like Black death through images like of postcards of like lynching picnic postcards and like I don't know like repeated media images of Black death. I feel like memes are the way memes are like run through and run through and run through until they die. I feel like maybe that is also something
Do you
that
think
like
memes die though?
I think memes die. I think like okay, I don't even want to say it because it's so the name of it, saying the name of it is just brings up such awful such a but like 6'7" is dead.
No, 6'7"
No?
is alive and well.
I don't think so. Last person you mentioned six
If
seven
you
to me
talk to
was
a kid
like,
under the age of like 10, they're like they're saying 6'7" all the time. And you would think Skibbity Toilet is dead. It's not. Like the kids are saying that still too. I don't
okay,
think memes really die. I think memes become other things. If anything, you know what's dead?
what?
21 is dead, but you could argue that 6'7" is an evolvement. It's the evolved version of 21. I don't think you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, numbers. Well, there's, what they say, numbers existed before anything existed. But like, when's the last time you thought about peanut butter jelly time?
I don't know.
Like, 'cause like literally, like they don't like some things just
Okay. Yeah,
die,
fair.
but then there's like no, and there's no trace of them,
I
you
will
know?
say, I will say, having worked at a school for children, you'd be surprised. They're reigniting many things you may have thought were dead. They're going crazy for peanut butter jelly time. They're going crazy for Crazy Frog. And you don't know, and it's happening all around you.
Damn, I work with high schoolers, so I think without I because of that, I don't really know what like the real youth is like the children are
Yeah.
like
I
into.
think people think that children are like not okay, and they're not, but also they are fine and they're playing outside and like I think it's like whatever you give them, they'll do, you know? If you
Yeah,
don't give them iPad, they don't go on iPad. They
yeah.
but anyway, I think we should move on because I want to get to a few other questions. I think the music in this video is so interesting and beautiful and also like kind of funny and like it matches up in so many interesting ways. I was wondering, how does the technique of chop and screw and its operation within music align with the making of the work? And also just if you guys gave each other certain parameters or had like assigned roles.
Yeah, I think one of the things I sort of thought about is I think like obviously there's like the technical chop and screw for like music. But I feel like in terms of like us referencing chop and screw, I feel like it is related to the soundtrack, but I also feel like it's related to our editing process in a weird way because we're sort of collaborating digitally. We have an idea of what all of us are working on, but we're essentially like making video clips with the idea that like someone else will edit them later. So like we're sort of like synthesizing sort of like all of our different video works and trying to like present it as one. And I feel like that for me was a part of the like chop and screw is like we're actually like chopping and screwing our own work in terms of how we're splicing it up and creating like a 3 channel video. Um and that's sort of what I thought for the technique at least. And I think in terms of collaboration, like me and Halie sort of focused on making video clips. I was working at a Unity 3D and Halie was working at a Blender. And so we were making clips with these like avatars that we had been working with for a while. And then we were sort of like giving creative input and then sending them to Logan to edit for the 3 channel video. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I think with me like kind of doing the editing, I was kind of like asking for particular types of clips, being like, okay, like, so if for some context, I've worked with IMVU videos in the past. The clips of like the me's and stuff that was like from video work Dante had been working on previously, and then Halie, the kind of like spinning room situation and the little Kim avatar. That was something that Halie has worked on for a different video piece, and in working as a collective, knowing that we've all like worked with avatars in some way instead of like trying to recreate something from scratch, um kind of approaching it from what happens when these things break boundaries and interact with one another. And I think when I think of like chop and screw like as a like music technique or genre, uh the idea of like resampling something, cutting it up and like recontextualizing it to give it like a well, I don't know if deeper is the right word, but that it becomes something totally different. Um, and that was kind of the approach, at least on my end, with the editing. And I think in kind of delegating different uh I guess responsibilities or positions in terms of the making of the work, it left a lot of like potential and possibilities for like what the end goal was or like what the end result would be. Um, and I think the combining of those worlds is the work, not necessarily what was the end result of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like the collaborative process was like very natural. Like I think I don't know if we fully broke like there was some delegation, but it also doesn't feel entirely like this is like your thing and like you do or like no input from anybody within the respective disciplines. Like I feel like there was everything was kind of like melding together to get the final product. Um, and like every aspect of it, I feel like was ultimately like collaborative. And so like even choosing which videos to include, I feel like was a collaborative process. So yeah, I feel like it was a very natural kind of familiar thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, while we were talking, I was thinking about the avatar more and how that's almost a form, like a new form of self-portraiture when you're like getting to create one. How do you see the role of the avatar within collaborative work, and how do you view the avatar's role in popular social gaming platforms such as like Roblox, IMVU, Fortnite?
Wait, can you say the first part again of the question? Sorry.
I was said, how do you see the role of the avatar within collaborative work?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it was that was the mechanism that kind of like drove the kind of uh colliding or uh breaking of the different, I don't know, I guess or respective practices or respective like digital worlds and spaces.
Yeah, I feel like the avid I mean, even kind of thinking about like role playing, I think the avatar is what allowed us to almost be together or like to collaborate at all, like these representations of us. And so I do feel like it was like I feel like avatars are just like different bodies through which to express your like a different body through which to express your feelings or like your real thoughts like online like not well I guess online or like yeah online like a other self where maybe the stakes aren't as high um to kind of dress that character up and represent that character in kind of like a place where you can be very much yourself. But then also it's not just about like usually when I make, and this is not uncommon, but I'm like whenever I make any piece of art that features a body, I'm like that's also a self-portrait. Um and I feel like the avatar, like an avatar online, whether it is, well, what I mean by that is like even like Lil Kim, like even though that's Lil Kim, I'm like that's when I say Lil Kim, I mean me. You know what I mean? Like I'm like that's not her. I'd be like that's Lil Kim, and by Lil Kim I mean that's me. Um, and I feel like those like being able to symbolize yourself through other bodies or like other objects that are not, or other bodies that are not yours, but it is kind of yours because you've claimed it. Online specifically, I think is like I think that's another uh great strength of working in digital spaces is the bendiness, kind of waviness of yourself, of who the self is.
Yeah, I think like with I had a lot of fun with my avatar because I don't know if you guys can tell from the video, but like it actually has my like face edited onto it, and it's like this like old I like ripped a 3D model of a me from like the old Nintendo games, and I sort of like put my face on this like slutty me character. Um and I feel like at least for me, like being able to like alter these models in digital space and sort of like actually play with them, I can like act out stuff I'm feeling in life. Like, I feel like when I made this, I was like thinking about my practice and like where it goes, like trying to make work about memes, but it feels like so expansive. Like anything I'm making, if I'm including a meme in it, it's already outdated because memes like they go so fast. And so like I started like envisioning it as this type of tower. And so like for my video, I'm like making my character like walk up to this tower and they have to like choose if they want to ascend it or not. And I feel like that was like a really cathartic moment for me to be able to like think about how I'm feeling and like actually make that in a game engine. And I think like even though I sort of have that like personal narrative with it, I think like including it in the collaboration, like I wouldn't be surprised if like Logan or Halie feel like they had some type of tower like their avatar needed to traverse, or like if the viewer like had a resonation that sort of arose out of the tower. Like, so I feel like it's sort of this idea of like, even though my face is on the avatar, because it's like this digital thing, like you can sort of like project yourself onto it. Um, which is cool, but then also like a little dangerous at the same time, you know what I mean? Because I think like when you start to like project and shoot outward and sort of like think through things digitally, it's not real life, you know? But that's sort of like how I felt about the avatars, at least. Specifically with mine.
Yeah, I love that your face is on there. Um, how did the locational limitations play into the creative and collaborative process? Because I know you're not all in the same area.
I definitely say like a lot of WhatsApp video chat meetings, lots of Instagram video group meetings, lots of Zoom meetings, like just, lots of group chats, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But also, I saw you're about to speak, Logan. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think we're like in different time zones. We're like I'm an hour ahead, I think. Um and so we'll just be like chatting, make a meeting, and I'm like, wait, which time zone? Um and then I don't know, just yeah, lots of texting, chatting, meeting kind of frequently to kind of get everything done and make sure that we're on track. Also, if people aren't seeing the chat below, if anyone has questions, like feel free to speak up as well. But yeah,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna ask one more question and then see if anybody else wants to say anything. How do you see your collective operating going forward into the future? What's next?
yeah, I think we we want to put the video online in some capacity. We want to uh we had a website. We need to like revamp it. So I'm gonna work on like coding it. And we kind of got into a good flow. And I think the reason why the video that our first like collaborative work, our first show worked out so well is because we started from a base of like theory and research.
Can we show the original video that we made?
Which one?
The one that was on our website, the old one
Oh,
that we sent to the
do
symposium?
you have it?
Let me look it up. I want to show it because we made a video that like looking at the one now, like it was totally like the baby version of what this could be. Like this is the realized version. But I want to try to show the old chopped one. Let me
Yeah, if you
see.
can find it. Yeah.
yeah, I love that video. But
But yeah, I think we're just gonna like I think we talked about it. We all like teach and stuff, and I think um we're gonna go back to like some theory research in between, work on the, putting the video online and the website, and then the next work will be in response to like whatever we've been looking at. And that kind of gives us some like cool down time. I feel like I never want to be in a place where I'm just like making work to just make it, you know?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do think, yeah, we kind of agree with like, because the process of making this was so, oh, there it is.
Oh wait, okay. We'll use unshare Logan so I can put this one up.
Like, but
Is
like,
it spotlighted? I'll make it big and play it when it's spotlighted.
yeah.
Um, oh, I see it. How do you how do you spotlight it?
I don't know.
Can you just full
I'm,
screen it and then? Because
yeah,
I can
I'm
see it.
seeing it
Oh, I got
on
it.
my
I
end.
spotlighted it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Muted the sound, but like this is literally the first video we made a couple years ago, and it's like if you look at it, it's like I feel like it's the framework for what this project ended up being, but like this exhibition was like the reason to like fully realize it, which I think is a really cool feeling. But this is like our very first one that we made for our website.
Yeah.
So
I
funny
love,
to look at it now.
yeah. I'm like the videos of I'm like, oh, that's what we look like in 2022, 2023. Like, wow. But yeah, like the avatars, again, like we have this use of avatars and we were picking like who to use from like these obscure video games. But Dante, I'm especially like obsessed with your avatar and how they like keep falling
My
down.
right. Yeah, you can see my head floating in the background
Yeah.
too.
And the memes like Pocahontas shooting John Smith in the head.
Right.
Oh, this was great. Honestly, the fact they didn't allow us to present the symposium was it was rigged. That's
Crazy. I'm like, who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that?
literally like innovative. What?
Yeah, that's fantastic. I like seeing where we started and how far we've come. Um, I just want to put it out there again, if there's any questions from anybody watching, you can ask them or type it in the chat. I think this has been a really great conversation. Maybe we did such a good job that nobody even has to say anything because we just had such a sprawling, deep conversation. I guess if there's no questions, I will maybe end by asking, what's your favorite meme?
That's hard.
Okay, I love this question. Um, I when I think of this question, like obviously there's like specific favorite memes I have, but I feel like I like to talk about the format because I feel like that's the real like my favorite meme format.
Yeah.
Um, right now, my favorite meme format is like in the sound of like audio bites. Like, I don't know if you guys know like popular audios that get used on TikTok or Reels, but it'll be like these completely like out of context things that like people just like over edit so funny and it becomes a sound that people like reuse and reuse. I think those take up so much space in my brain and it like it'll make it to where like I'm literally blurting out like if you don't know the meme it literally seems like nonsense like I'm a crazy person. But it's like from this like audio stem that I like hear on these videos. I think my favorite one right now is like there's like this British reporter and it's like a rainstorm and she's like, "Don't take unnecessary journeys." But then like someone like auto-tuned it and like turned it into a song. So it's like her yelling in auto-tune not to take unnecessary journeys. Which that's been my favorite.
Don't go
I've been
chasing
trying to
waterfalls.
right, yeah. So I think Audio Bites sort of has my heart right now.
Yeah.
Um, so mine is kind of a tie between that guy who like goes up to people on the street with memes printed out in a binder, and then everybody's like, "What?" And then also hood inspirational memes or hood motivational memes, which are kind of problematic. But I'm gonna share my screen for a second so people can see it. Does everybody see that? Like these memes, which is like I mean it's like kind of crazy that people will just take people's random Facebook photos and put like motivational quotes over them. I think it's my favorite because I'm like interested in it like art wise, but you know, like some white, like 20 something year old made it. But yeah, I love these.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Oh, yeah, no, I love those also. I feel like especially the ones like there's a lot of them of just like Chief Keef, at any given time. And I'm like, is Chief Keef my favorite? Like Chief Keef himself my favorite meme, but I feel like maybe not even necessarily. Like, and now I'm like, should I say I'm like looking for good meme images because I'm like, should I say would it reflect poorly on me to say that my favorite meme is like my favorite meme right now, I'm between Sopranos memes and like Gabagool memes and then 6 7. And like Dante was like talking about like 6 7, like talking about like the formats of memes. My favorite thing about 6 7 is not itself, but that it's like again like a verbal stem that kind of proliferates itself and came from nowhere.
Well, I like 6 7 because it didn't come from nowhere. It came from what's that rapper's name?
I
He's like
actually
Skrilla?
did a lot of
Skrilla.
studying.
He's Philly
Yeah.
based. And that's why I like it because I'm like it's kind of crazy. It's just like people just randomly took his song out of context and now it's like a vocal stem for like um
For, for
children.
me, for me. It's a
For
Really?
vocal
you,
stim
for
for
you,
me.
for me, for the children.
I had no idea. Wait, what? Where? Who? Skrilla?
Yeah. The song is it's not called 6 7, it's something else. I'll send it. Maybe I'll find a link and send it in the chat.
Like
Blanche
But
that?
yeah.
said it is the I was in the room the whole time. There's a part in our audio where we were talking about earlier where Halie mentions this audio of this dude finding out that everyone in the IMVU chat had been talking shit on him because they thought he was gone, but he was here. Blanche asked, was the I was in the room the whole time, is that considered an audio or a soundbite or a meme? And I feel like we totally made it a meme. For
Yeah,
sure. We totally made
that
it a meme.
that's my favorite. That's my favorite. Is like I was there the like it keeps playing my like keeps playing in my head. Like I was here the whole time.
Well,
That
Right.
was so fucking
because
stupid.
I've been living with the exhibition for 6 weeks. I'm in the gallery like a lot, and so I hear I was in the room the whole time, like a, a lot. It really has like seeped into my subconscious, and I wasn't familiar with the idea of like a sound meme or an audio meme before y'all were discussing it, so that made me think about that. Yeah, thanks for answering the question. Yeah.
Course.
Okay, well, this has been wonderful. Happy Valentine's Day. It was so nice getting to know everyone, and I look forward to everything that you will do in the future.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Thanks Vox for having the exhibition. Thanks China for moderating for us. I really appreciate the experience.
Uh,
Yep.
yes, thank you guys.
Everybody
Wonderful.
have a good Valentine's Day. Wait. Quick shout out. If you're in Philly, you should go to the Valentine's Cabaret tonight at Queen Memorial Building. I think it starts at 8.
But first, you should go to Vox
Oh, my bad.
and see
Yeah.
Chop Slop Screwed, this
Hey,
exhibition we've been talking
Oh,
about for
that's
an
true. That's true.
hour.
Yeah, see my show.
literally,
That takes priority. See
you
our
want to go
show.
you want to go to the club before you see the show.
The
Yeah.
clubs, like see the show and then let
But
it
you
inspire you at
then
the club.
then go to the cabaret,
The
and I'll
club.
be there working camera. That's yes. Please come see the show. Today is the last day, I
Today
think.
is the last day. It's on
Yep.
Yeah.
view till 6. Come see it in person. Thank you all so much. This will be recorded for posterity. Happy Valentine's Day
Cool.
and take care.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thanks for
Bye.
coming. Bye bye.